So to talk about this opportunity for Philippines, we have Mr. DelfinWenceslao. But I should also point out his close associate, Buds Wenceslao, who maybe Buds, it was Buds who originally we had to speak, and so I made the mistake of asking Buds, because if you see, could you stand up, Buds? Kind of a good-looking guy. Yes, now our speaker today is the patriarch, but he's the managing director who actually runs the day-to-day operations of it. But I made the mistake of asking Buds for a picture that made him look a bit older, and then he said, "Well, Richard, hold on, I'll get our patriarch to speak." So, and then, but we're very glad to have Mr. DelfinWenceslao, and we're looking forward to a good presentation. He is certainly the patriarch and chairman of many companies. DM Wenceslao and Associates, a 45-year-old company that he has continued on and built into a major operation in the nation, certainly. The reclamation project, of which his organization was the lead part of, with many partners, but started in 1988 and didn't finish until 2000. So it was a very long, arduous project. And he also sits on the director of Alpha Land, PhilWeb, a number of other organizations. He's chairman of a number of non-profit charitable organizations. One is Katipunan Nung Mamayan Nung Bagong Paranaque. I hope I said that right. Provides assistance to many, many people across the Paranaque area. Is one of the more prominent one of these. So, if I may, I'll welcome the Mr. DelfinWenceslao to the stage. I'm glad to have him. Very good, sir.
Thank you, Richard. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, it's supposed to be my son who's going to be speaking before you now. But when we look at the project history, we started the work in 1989. At that time, I was 46 years old with black hair. But my son, Buds, was only 10 years old at the time. But now he's a father with two daughters, a master's degree in MIT. I think it's more than capable to discuss this project. But we thought it wise that if we want to discuss the history of the project, I should be the one to make the presentation. Okay, let's take a look at some of the worthwhile or notable reclamation projects. The first one is Boston, with the 197-hectare reclamation area. They reclaim land for Boston to cover their requirements. Then, of course, Singapore is known for expanding in land areas because they're an island, and the reason they've slowed down in their land reclamation project is their neighbor Indonesia has blocked or refused to give them more sun, so they're rather slow down, but they've expanded quite a lot in Singapore. And of course, the reclamation and development in Hong Kong has been expanding their land areas. They have no problem in getting sun. They're getting it from China. Most notable, of course, was the Sheplakok International Airport. It's roughly 8,000 hectares reclamation. I was fortunate enough to be present when they broke ground in this area. You know, that thing is completely water. They took land, they took sun from under the sea and starting reclaiming. Our partner in our reclamation is a company called John Dinul. I think that's the second largest company in the world. They were the lead contractor in undertaking this airport project in Hong Kong. Dubai, of course, is well known for the islands they created. They have several. We have the World. Then they have something like Manhattan project for the area. They have reclaimed a lot of land, and I think they overestimated the demand for it, that they're having some financial difficulties. Most of them are substantially finished, but they're having some problems now, I think, financially. This is Dubai. In the Philippines, we have a project called the Bay City project. This starts from the cultural center, or the CCP area. These were all reclaimed, starting from the time of President Marcos. The CCP area, then what we call the financial center, which is covering the area of Philippine National Bank and GSIS. CBP 1A, which is the reclamation area being developed by the Henry C. Group, Metropolitan Bank, and Public States Authority. Then CBP 1 BNC, that's the area being developed by our group, the R1 Consortium, in joint venture with the Public State Authority, or what we call now the Philippine Reclamation Authority. Then CBP 2, which is the Marina project, that's the area being developed by the Jack Nang Group. Asia World, Tanyu, it's existing, and the Cyber Bay, which is still in the area of underdevelopment, still not developed. In 1989, CBP DNC was non-existent. These are the current developments in the area. But in 1989, when it started working, CBP BNC was not yet a reclaimed area. If you look at the development now of the Bay City, the only thing left basically undeveloped is the Cyber Bay City, which I heard has been contracted and about to be developed. So most of the land mass has been reclaimed currently. We have CBP 1A with around 200 hectares, Asiana City with around 220, 48 hectares for CBP 2. That CBP 2 is the area covered by Uniwide, the frontal areas of Uniwide. Then the Asia World Group of Tanyu with around 173 hectares, Cyber City with around 800 hectares. Let's look at the Bay City developments. This is what we call the CPCCP, Cultural Center PMB Complex, which they started with building the Cultural Center way back during the President Marcos' time. Then with World Trade Center is there. CBP 1A covers the development of the SM Group and the Metropolitan Bank Group. We have the ECOM office buildings. Then we have the SM Arena, which is now being used for the UAP Games at LaSalle. The SMX Convention Center, Bay Gardens and Royal Palm. The Mall of Asia development, which is quite big. It's a huge development. And the Hotel 101, this is, I think, under construction. They're just driving the piles, the piling foundation of the building. Then the Shell Residence, which is already, I think, has been constructed, is being constructed. Then the Manila Doctors, the Manila Doctors, the school is already existing. I think this is about to be started. Six Senses Resort, this is by the Federalan Group. Federalan is a company of the Metropolitan Bank Group of Mr. George T. CBP BNC, our area, has roughly 220 hectares. We started in 89 with the body of water. This was the area that we started in 89. Now, our mandate is quite simple in 89. We are supposed to create assets, generate income, create employment opportunities, attract investors to the Philippines at zero cost to the government. This was the most difficult job, especially in 89. You know, we signed the contract in September. In December, a coup was launched against the administration of President Aquino. So a lot of investors actually deferred their investment in the project, delaying the project for almost 5 years. So we started to get the help of the greatest engineer of our times. So we went to Jesus Christ, to God. And he was given the inspiration of the Genesis. Let the waters under the sky be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. This basically is the reclamation process. When you separate land from the water, you create land. The reclamation process is quite simple. You relocate sand from underwater and bring it above water. That's the reclamation process. Okay? And the genius behind this is, of course, God. So, we started. Our partner in the reclamation project is a company called Jan de Nul of Belgium. I think this is the second or the largest. It's the largest in terms of fleet in the dredging business. It's a family-owned business. They have a fleet of around, I think latest count is around 60 dredgers operating all over the world. They did the Hong Kong airport, they did Hong Kong, they did Dubai, they are now in Australia, they are doing maintenance dredging in Argentina. The reclamation phase starts with a dredger, we call it a trailer suction hopper dredge. The purpose of this vehicle is to suck the sand from under the sea, load it on the vessel, and bring it to the reclamation area. The source of sand for our project came all the way from somewhere in Corridor. The reason you have to use sand is it's because it's a good foundation material. Okay? We don't use clays material, we use basically marine sand. So you suck, as the trailer moves along the sea, it sucks the sand and loads the vessel. When it gets to the reclamation area, it pumps the sand through a series of pipes. A pipeline, what you call a pipeline. Or you could also spray it, what we call a spray pontoon. Or you can simply dump the sand on the reclamation area. The vessel is so designed that it has gates underneath. So it just opens up and you dump the sand in a period of, I think, 30 minutes. All the sand is gone and loaded on the reclamation area. We call it the bottom doors. No? These are very huge vessels. The one which went to the Philippines has a load of around, I think, 20,000 cubic meters per load. At that time, that was a big vessel. Now, I think they have vessels which carries a load of around 40,000, 35,000 cubic meters or 40,000 cubic meters per load. Imagine this. Compare this to one dump truck. One dump truck carries a load of around 15 cubic meters. This carries one trip, 20,000, 30,000 cubic meters per load. After we have initially put the land, we contain it. In our case, we put a containment structure consisting of armored racks. We got the racks from Quezon and Bataan. So we put the armor racks in the area. The idea, of course, is to prevent the reclaimed area or the sand from going back to the sea. After you have filled up the area to elevation, our elevation is +3, which means 3 meters above mean low water. We have a phase called consolidation phase. There are 2 ways of doing this. One is called natural consolidation. You just wait. Wait for 5 years, wait for 10 years, wait for it to settle down, okay? Or you can do what we call artificial or accelerated consolidation. We put weak drains. Weak drains are something like straws. You put the straw in the land, then you put a surcharge, heavier material on the land, forcing the water to get out. Over time, the material, or what we call the clay material, consolidates and becomes solid material. Okay? This particular consolidation process we did in the Island A, which our company also did the reclamation, or what we call the remedial reclamation of Island A, the group of the area belonging to the Henry C. Group. This was the area by the year 2000. Okay, you can see already the outline of the infrastructure. The center line. The main road is what we call ASEAN Avenue. You can see the outline of Macapagal Boulevard in the area. We waited for a while before we put in the infrastructure. You can see from this development, from this plan, the development of Asiana City. After we have consolidated the land, we started putting up the infra. The principal road in the area in Bay City is Macapagal Boulevard. Macapagal Boulevard, then we have what we call, if you look at the highway structure, you start from Roas Boulevard, Macapagal Boulevard, parallel lines, then Jokno Boulevard. Jokno Boulevard is what we call this section. This is the area leading out of the Shumart area, going to our area all the way to Pagcor City. The brown ones are the main roads. Okay. Macapagal Boulevard is, I think, 45 meters. ASEAN Avenue, which is the main road perpendicular to Macapagal, is 50 meters wide. We have very, very wide roads in the area because we are already taking in consideration the fact that there is going to be a lot of vertical density going to be built up in Asiana Business Park. The 2 areas, this ASEAN Avenue, the road is finished but has not yet been opened. This is the area leading from SM. From SM area, there's a bridge. Then it leads directly to the Pagcor City development. Okay. My mistake. ASEAN Avenue is the road leading from Ross Boulevard all the way to the sea. Then we have Jokno Avenue. Jokno Avenue is the one leading from SM to Pagcor. And this is Macapagal Boulevard. Okay. Aside from that road development, we were informed that the LRT 1 extension